Welcome to the Learning Lab class, Google Apps for Organization. My name is Melissa, and I'm one of the Adult and Teen Services librarians at the Arcadia Public Library. In this class series, we'll be taking a look at 3 Google apps and some of their features that can help you stay organized. In this video, we'll be checking out Google's email service, Gmail, and explore some tips and tricks to help you get organized. Let's get started. As we get started, just a general reminder that your Google account and apps are going to look different than mine since we have different content in our accounts, but the navigation and structure should be generally the same. Another quick note, some of the organizational tips and tricks will be available to you using the Gmail or Mail app on your mobile device, but some of the more advanced settings or tools may only be available in an internet browser. So if you don't see an option in the app, you should head to a computer to accomplish the task. First, I'm going to head to gmail.com in my web browser, and we'll take a look at the organizational features of Gmail. If you're not logged in, you'll be taken to a landing page where you can enter your username and password to log into your email account. If you're on a personal device, it's possible, if not likely, that you have your login credentials saved, and heading to gmail.com will take you directly to your inbox. But if not, go ahead and log in, and I will meet you in the inbox. Now, here in the inbox, let's talk briefly about brief navigation. In the upper center, I have the search bar, I have help, and settings, which we'll be looking at in a bit. On the left-hand side, we have the different sections of our email and any labels that we might have, which we can expand or collapse by clicking on the more or less button. In the center is the inbox where your emails are going to show. And on the right-hand side, we have some additional apps that are integrated or can be accessed from this area. We've got Calendar, Keep, Tasks, and Contacts, and the ability to add additional add-ons. Now, as we talked about in the Learning Lab class, Digital Privacy Basics, you'll want to be mindful of additional permissions and information that you might be providing third parties when using add-ons. So you'll want to be sure to ask yourself, is it worth it? I'm going to go ahead and select a message, and you'll notice that when I select a message, all along the top, I get all of these additional buttons. The first one that we're going to be taking a look at that can help you and your inbox be organized is the box with the down arrow, which is archive. When you archive a message, you are removing it from your inbox, but you aren't deleting the item. It's still in your account, but it won't be in your inbox any longer. This can be useful for keeping your inbox clean, but retaining emails that you might need to refer to in the future. Let's take a look at where this email has gone in case I need to find it or I accidentally removed it. You see by the left-hand navigation menu that I'm currently in my inbox. But if I look at the rest of this left-hand navigation menu, I have additional options. And the one I'm going to be interested in is all mail. If I don't see it here in this top list, if I click on more and expand the list to its full listings, I will see that all mail is listed. All mail is all the emails that are still in my account, but not necessarily in my inbox. If I click on all mail, I'm taken to that section. And you'll notice that there's a lot more in this area than was in my inbox. You can see that the ones here that are labeled inbox are in my main inbox that we were just looking at, but there's a bunch that don't have the label inbox. And these are items that have been moved through archiving out of my inbox. If you want to move an item back to your inbox, you can simply do that by selecting it and then clicking on the other box with the down arrow that says move to inbox. And if I go ahead and do that, you'll notice that it is now labeled inbox. And if we go back to my inbox, that email is back in my inbox. Archived items will also come up if you perform a search at the top as a search bar, because that searches all mail. Archiving can be thought of like filing paperwork into a filing cabinet. It gets off your desk and away, but it's still accessible to you. Another way you can stay organized is by creating labels, and labels can be thought of as folders in the filing cabinet, but with the added benefit of being digital in that they can have multiple labels or folders at once. You can create a label by selecting the Create a New Label option on the left-hand navigation menu. which is all the way at the bottom. So if you don't see it immediately, you may need to expand the more and less option to be able to see it, but it will be available to you there. Like with lots of things in Google, you can also create labels by selecting an item and then using the label button at the top of the menu options that appear. This is where you can label items into existing labels. For example, I have test October, test 2, and those are created labels within this Gmail account. But on the bottom here, there is also the option to create new. You see that there are also social, forums, promotionals, and updates. And these label options are just default categories created by Google. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new label to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to click on create new, and you get a pop-up where you can enter the label name and you have the option to nest the label under another label. This might be useful if, say, you have a different event with the same organization, but you want to organize the emails by individual event. The top label can be the organization and the nested label can be the individual event. So you can see here, this October label is under this test label. So it is within the test label. I can find all of the emails that are labeled by navigating to that label on the left-hand navigation menu or by performing a search in the search bar. So let me show you how that works. I'm going to cancel out of this. So I can go ahead here and click on test, and it's going to show me the ones that are in test. If I have any in the nested label, I can expand that with the drop down arrow and then click in there. I don't have anything labeled in there, so that's why there's no conversations or emails that show up. But you can also, if you know the name of the label, you can also perform a search right up here at the top. And the format is label : and then the label name. If it is nested, there is a dash in between the two labels. If there is not, I can remove that and I'm back to those two that are labeled test. Okay, so let's say you have a lot of labels and you don't want tons and tons of them appearing on the left-hand side navigation menu. Another way you can stay organized within your Gmail is by managing your labels. You can get to manage label settings by using the top navigation menu when an item is selected, and just heading down to manage labels. This is also accessible from the settings menu from the gear in the upper right-hand corner. So if I head to the settings, then I'm going to want to head to see all settings. And then I'm going to click on the labels tab. This setting menu allows you to show and hide labels in the labels list, which is what shows up on this left-hand navigation menu, as well as the message list, which is the label that shows on an individual email in the center area of your email. For the system labels and categories that are defaults within Google, you do not have the additional action options that you have for labels you've created. So for example, I'm going to head down here and I have all these options, but I don't have the same options for, say, updates or forums or promotions, because those are basic categories within Google. But for example, within labels, I have show, hide, and show if unread. This menu area also allows you to change the label color. So if you're a visual person, you can have different color labels to help you with your organization. Finally, in both menu areas, you have the option to only have the label appear on the left-hand navigation menu if there are unread messages within that label, which is what this show if unread option is. So if I click this, you'll notice that it disappears from the left-hand navigation menu because I don't have any unread emails within that label. But if for some reason I did have an unread email, it would show up here, but only while there is an unread item. So I can fully hide it with hide. I can show it and have it show all the time, or I can have it show if unread. Now, how might an email get a label and remain unread? That seems sort of counterintuitive, but actually you can, of course, read an email and then label it and then mark it again as unread, but that's a lot of steps and that might not be the best option for you. The other way that you can stay organized with Gmail is to set up filters for your email. So let me show you how to do that. Filters are an extremely useful tool to help you organize your email and your inbox before emails even arrive. Essentially, filters tell your account where to put, how to label, and generally what to do with the types of emails you receive. You can set up filters in the settings menu by clicking on the filters and blocked addresses tab, but you can also create a filter by using the search bar options at the top of the page as well. So this is what the settings menu looks like for filters. And when you select create a new filter, you actually get that pop-up from the search bar. In this menu, you can create a filter for particular email addresses or domains, particular subject lines, if it has particular words, if it doesn't have particular words, how large the email is, if it contains an attachment, and you can exclude chats if you're using Google Chats from this filtering option. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a subject as my jumping off point. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit create filter. This gives you an additional pop-up with additional options that you want to go through to set up your filter. This second page has a lot of options that essentially are telling Google what to do with those emails. It can automatically archive it. It'll skip your inbox. You can mark it red. You can star it. You can automatically apply a label, which is how an email that is unread might show up with a label. I can forward it to somewhere else, to a specific forwarding address. I can automatically delete it. I can choose to never mark that as spam. So if you are getting emails from an organization that you know are not spam and you want to make sure that they're never put in your spam folder, you can set up a filter this way so that Gmail knows how to handle those emails. You can always mark it as important or not important, and you can also apply a category. The nice thing about this is if the search that you performed to set up the filter matches any existing conversations, you can also apply that filter to the existing emails in your Gmail account. Once you have the filter set up, you can modify the filter settings. So I'm going to go ahead and just select an option. I'm going to go create the filter. And now in the settings menu, so from settings up here, in filters and blocked addresses, your filters will all show here. And so I have one that's set up for a domain at arcadiaca.gov, and I have it apply the label test. If I need to make a change to that in the future, all I would need to do is just click on edit, and it'll walk me through that same two pop-up boxes again, and I can make changes to that filter. Filters are extremely useful to cut out repetitive tasks and help you organize your email account proactively in a way that makes sense for you. In this video, we discussed Google's email service, Gmail, and some tips and tricks to help you get and stay organized, including archiving, labeling, and filtering. Join us for our next video where we'll be going over tips and tricks for staying organized using your Google Calendar. Feel free to reach out to library staff if you have any additional questions.